Good morning to the doers. Good morning to the builders. And a very uncomfortable good morning to the folks who hate accountability but love talent. Because once again, Coach Prime done shook the tables. Not with a tweet, not with a portal flip, not with a five-star announcement. None of that. Nah. This time he said something that made grown men clutch their pearls. If you're late, it's going to cost you. Money fines, real consequences, real life. Meanwhile, a quarterback everybody buried just showed the football world something important about environment versus ability. And Notre Dame? Oh, Notre Dame out here moving like it's Sunday truce on the wire. But Omar coming, y'all. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about this morning, so let's work. Coach Prime and money fines. Accountability ain't abuse, y'all. Let me say this slow, not loud, but slow. Deion Sanders is not punishing players. He's preparing them for the world they say they want. Every recruit wants to talk about the NFL. Every kid got a league dream in their bio. Every parent talking about generational wealth. Cool. But nobody want to talk about league discipline because in the league, you're late, fine. You miss rehab, fine. You blow media obligations, fine. You're embarrassed the shield, fine, plus suspension. Money is the language of professionalism. So when Prime says your actions are going to cost you, that ain't cruelty. That's curriculum. Here's the part that makes folks uncomfortable. This generation been coached with feelings first, leadership. Talk to him softly. Don't hurt his confidence. Protect the relationship. Man, the world is not soft. Bills don't care about your confidence. Employers don't care about your intent. Results matter. And Prime understands something most coaches don't have the courage to say. You don't rise to motivation, you fall to your standards. If you can't handle being on time, being accountable, being corrected, then the league will eat you alive. And let's call out the real elephant in the room. The loudest critics are never former NFL players. It's always Twitter coaches, podcast philosophers, folks who never had a locker room next to grown men feeding families. Ask any vet, discipline is love. Because discipline says, I care enough to hold you to something. Prime isn't charging money to be petty. He's attaching value to time. And when young men learn my lateness costs me, they also learn my excellence pays me. That's life. That's leadership. That's why Colorado ain't some kind of circus. It's a professional ecosystem. And folks are scared of that. And they telling on themselves. Let's flip to the NFL, man. Sam Darnold and the lie we tell about BUSTS. So let's clean up the timeline because accuracy matters. Sam Darnold has not played in the Super Bowl yet. He's on the way. But the lesson here is a loud one. We are way too quick to call people BUSTS and way too slow to indict organizations. Darnold walked into the league with arm talent, size, mobility, football IQ. But what he walked into was dysfunction, a circus type atmosphere. He walked into an organization with bad protection and worse expectations. And then we sat on the couch and said, see, he ain't it. But let me tell you something real. Confidence is perishable. Quarterbacks are not robots. They are processors. If every snap feels like survival, if every read feels rushed, if every mistake feels like the end, the talent shrinks. And the NFL graveyard is full of guys who were talented enough, but never supported enough. This is why smart football people say, show me the situation before you show me the stats. Because a bad environment speeds up reads, it warps mechanics, and it breaks trust. And once a QB stops trusting what he sees, it's over. I'm seeing ghosts out there. But put that same QB in structure, define roles, clear expectations, and suddenly the game slows down. That's not resurrection. That's proper usage. So before we write off quarterbacks, before we clown prospects, before we slap bust on a 22-year-old, ask one question. Did the building fail him or did he fail the building? Because history tells us great talent can survive bad moments, but rarely does it survive bad systems. Hit college again, got to talk Notre Dame and the CFP. Notre Dame and the audacity of automatic privilege. Let's take the gloves off, y'all, for the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame gets a CFP seat as long as they're ranked, right? No conference title game, no championship pressure, no final boss to face, just vibes and voters. And I got to ask again, louder for the people in the back, who do y'all think you are? Everybody else got to survive a conference, win a title, earn the bid. But Notre Dame, just don't rank us too low. That ain't tradition. That's a hall pass. And what kills me is the branding spin. They call it independence. They call it history. They call it purity. Nah, that's protection, dog. Because if Notre Dame had to run the same gauntlet as the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, or even the Big 12, that shine would get dull real quick. You don't get to avoid the grind and then claim the reward. That's not how competition works. If the CFP is about the best teams, prove it on the same field. If it's about earning it, then earn it like everybody else. Otherwise, stop pretending this is about fairness. It's about ratings. And college football keeps telling the quiet part out loud. Finally, my man, Shedeur Sanders. Shiggity! He got the Pro Bowl nod in the Browns season and never was. We got to talk about the elephant that's been tap dancing in Cleveland all year. Shedeur Sanders added to the Pro Bowl now. Let that breathe, man. A rookie thrown into chaos, still respected by players across the league. And here's the trivia nugget that'll mess with folks. That makes Shedeur the first Pro Bowl quarterback tied to his fired coach, Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski's first Pro Bowl quarterback is Shedeur Sanders. And now we got to talk about the season it could have been, because the Browns didn't lose because of talent. They lost because of hesitation. This wasn't a roster problem. This wasn't a weapons problem. This wasn't a defense problem. This was a decision problem. You got to run it back and run it back honestly. Shedeur gave you a command at the line, anticipation of his throws, pocket toughness, leadership that didn't flinch during the game at the press podium, and most importantly, the locker room believed him. And that matters more than spreadsheets and play call charts, because football ain't played on whiteboards, it's played on belief. So imagine this. Shedeur starts week one. He takes the early lumps. The offense grows with him. The timing sharpens. The mistakes decrease. By midseason, you're not managing games, you're building momentum. Instead, Cleveland waffled. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, no identity. And in this league, indecision is there. The Browns had a defense ready to win now. They got some weapons begging for rhythm. They had a city starving for belief. What they didn't do was commit. Here's the coldest part. The Pro Bowl nod proves it wasn't imagination. Players around the league saw it, defenders saw it, teammates saw it. The Browns just didn't trust it early enough. And that's the tragedy, because this wasn't about is Shedeur good enough. The question was, were the Browns brave enough? And the answer, no. The season didn't fail because of a rookie QB. It failed because grown men upstairs were scared to fully lean into the future staring them in the face. Now, Stefanski is gone, the reset button is smashed, and the Shedeur resume already has Pro Bowl on it. That's not a hindsight. That's an indictment of the organization. Let's land this plane and land it hard, because this is born in wood. Coach Prime is restoring accountability, and folks are scared. Sam Darnold reminds us that talent suffocates in chaos. And Notre Dame keeps benefiting from a scared system to challenge power. And Shedeur, been that dude all along. The common thread, change exposes truth. Discipline exposes who's serious. Structure exposes who's misused. Equality exposes who was protected. The game is moving forward with or without your comfort. So if this morning wood made you uneasy, if it challenged your assumptions and poked your favorite sacred cow, good. That's growth. That's morning wood. Hey, y'all be sure to stay tuned, man, the Pregame Network. Also, check out Big Dog Chico over at Speed Hustle TV. And don't forget our man Deuce the Scoop on his channel as well. Morning run still coming at you 3 days a week in the off season. This is Uncle Neely. And around here, we don't whisper the truth. We swing on it. Bam!